anti-ship missiles that could blunt a Chinese invasion. Taiwan reportedly agrees to buy as many as 400 of them.
I'm McLeod for TaiwanPlus, here at Taoyuan Airport as a group of Taiwanese medical professionals heads to volunteer in Ukraine.
How the death of a firefighter is raising awareness about Taiwan's grueling working hours. And they say bold is beautiful, the new sculpture that's getting a lot of attention in Penghu. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chen. Taiwan is reportedly buying up to 400 land-launched Harpoon missiles from the U.S. It's the first time Taiwan has bought the land-based version of this type of missile. Congress approved the sale in 2020. This month, the Pentagon announced a contract with Boeing worth over $1 billion to build Harpoon missiles, but it didn't say who was buying them. However, Bloomberg is reporting the missiles will be purchased by Taiwan. The contract says the order will be finished in 2029. U.S. think tank CSIS says if China were to attack Taiwan, the missiles would be effective against invading forces. For more on Taiwan's move to strengthen its missile strike capability, our reporter Jaime Okan spoke to Blake Herzinger, a security analyst with the American Enterprise Institute based in Singapore.
Can you tell us what's significant about Taiwan procuring these types of missiles?
So Taiwan is seeking to blunt the potential for a cross-strait amphibious invasion. And the best way to do that is to attack a Chinese fleet at its most vulnerable point. And that is when it has troops embarked and it is trying to cross 100 miles of rough sea between the Chinese coastline and Taiwan. And anti-ship cruise missiles are the best way to do that.
Other countries in Asia, like Japan and the Philippines, have been also adding to its missile defense and strike capabilities. Do you think we're seeing a trend in the region for enhancing this kind of capability?
Absolutely. We've seen a considerable investment over the last several years in long-range strike, particularly standoff weapons and counter-strike capabilities from countries like Japan, which is very significant given remilitarizing Japan is something that we haven't seen in decades. We see it in South Korea, Vietnam, Philippines. All these countries are seeking ways to blunt aggression from the sea, which seems to correlate strongly with the Chinese Navy that has grown by leaps and bounds over the last 2 decades and has been used to coerce its neighbors across the region. It would definitely play a role in a more, maybe an asymmetric strategy, relying on things like cruise missiles and sea mines rather than things like large crewed ships or aircraft, which are more vulnerable and place Taiwanese service people in the firing line. If you can use a platform that doesn't cost lives to use, like a cruise missile, that husbands Taiwan's most precious resource, its people, much more effectively.
And given that more allies in the region are bolstering their defense, how does this help Taiwan in ensuring its own security?
I would say it's broader than even tactical military capability. It's significant for Taiwan militarily that all these countries are investing in similar capabilities. But I think the broader atmospherics, the fact that the region has woken up really to Chinese militarism and Chinese revisionism at sea, the fact that China is using its unparalleled military in Asia to pressure its neighbors, and this is often coming in the maritime space, on the oceans, in the littorals. And states are very interested in developing capabilities to counter that. That for Taiwan, that's important because they're not alone in being pressured by China.
That was Blake Herzinger, a security analyst with the American Enterprise Institute, speaking to our reporter Jaime Okan. Taiwan's defense ministry says it welcomes the presence of U.S. troops in the country. The statement comes after the Central News Agency reported that roughly 200 U.S. military instructors are stationed at training facilities around Taiwan. The report cited sources with knowledge of the matter. The report says U.S. troops are observing Taiwan's training program and offering guidance to improve the country's conscription program, which will be extended to 1 year in 2024. The U.S. de facto embassy in Taiwan said it would not comment on the report, but it said it is committed to maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. China has held major military drills in the Yellow Sea. The Chinese Maritime Safety Agency did not specify what activities were being carried out. The exercises were in waters off Shandong province, where military drills often take place. The drills come shortly after China held large-scale war games around Taiwan. Those were in response to Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen's meeting with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in California. Taiwan is set to open a representative office in the city of Milan in northern Italy this summer. Representative offices stand in for formal embassies and consulates in countries that don't officially recognize Taiwan. The Foreign Ministry says the office is expected to boost trade and tourism between Taiwan and Italy. The announcement comes just months after the start of direct flights between Milan and Taipei. A team of Taiwanese doctors and nurses is on their way to volunteer in Ukraine. It's the first medical team from Asia to travel to the war-torn country since Russia invaded in February 2022. Rick Glauert reports.
35-year-old emergency doctor Wu Peishan is saying her goodbyes. She's part of a Taiwanese medical team going to volunteer in war-torn Ukraine. She says she's both excited and nervous about going.
My mother is very worried about it. So she also go to the temple to pray for my safety.
The team of 10 will spend 12 days in the west of Ukraine, treating soldiers and other people affected by the war, as well as training Ukrainian health workers. Battling off Russia's full-scale invasion for more than a year has taken a massive toll on the Eastern European country, including its healthcare system. Taiwan is the first country in Asia to send a medical team, and they have the backing of the country's leader.
我要借这个机会谢谢我们的医疗团，让世界能够再一次看到台湾的贡献。
This is just the latest contribution from Taiwan to the war effort.
Ukraine may be more than 8,000 kilometers from here, but the country's determination to defend its freedom has struck a chord with Taiwanese. In the more than 400 days since Russia invaded Ukraine, Taiwan's people have continuously donated goods and given millions of US dollars in aid.
Oleg Shin, a Ukrainian living in Taiwan, has been raising awareness and funds since the outbreak of war. He says Taiwanese support has been unwavering.
Taiwanese people themselves were historically either endangered or oppressed, and they know what it is like to be in a position when your own identity and your statehood is questioned and claimed and contested.
Many Taiwanese look at the situation in Ukraine and see what could be their own fate. Just across the strait from Taiwan is China, which claims the island nation as part of its territory. Beijing sending military ships and planes into the area around Taiwan is becoming the new norm, as China ramps up pressure on the democratically ruled country.
我要跟大家说，过去这几年国际情势真的有很大的变化。那么我们今年也持续的会有很多的挑战。那政府一定会坚持，让台湾的民主、自由、人权的价值能够更深化。
And it's those shared democratic values that have inspired Dr. Wu and her colleagues to volunteer and help Ukraine, finding camaraderie across the world in the face of a larger foe. Leon Lien and Rick Lauert for TaiwanPlus.
The family of a fire service dispatcher in central Taiwan say that fatigue and stress from excessive working hours led to his death. The dispatcher died in early March after he went into cardiac arrest. His family said that before his death, he worked 178 hours of overtime in January and 108 in February. In comparison, the average Taiwanese workers worked just 95 overtime hours in the whole of 2022. Officials say the dispatcher's hours fell within the legal limit. Taiwan has some of the world's longest working hours, with the average employee clocking over 2,000 hours each year. To find out more about Taiwan's work culture, John Van Truett spoke to HR consultant and labor law expert Tracy Chen.
Is overwork and excessive overtime a problem in Taiwan?
我们都比较有责任感，就是说，我们都会把工作做了差不多到一个阶段才会离开办公室。那还有一个现象就是说，如果你的老板还在办公室，你就不好意思比他提早离开，这个是有的。不过我刚刚要提到，就是说台湾有在进步，我们有修劳基法，就把它修订成一例一休，就是真正的周休2日。
But some of our viewers may be surprised to learn, though, that some nearby countries with similar work cultures, like Japan and South Korea, work a lot less than Taiwan does. Why is this?
因为我们的薪水总是没有像日本、亚洲的国民平均所得那么高，所以很多人他会很想说加班可以增加一点收入。可是很多公司它是为了这个劳动成本，它会增加，所以很多公司的老板他是不希望员工加班的。 因为他没有能力给你加班费。
And is death from overwork a problem in Taiwan? Is this a social problem we should be paying more attention to?
老板会认为说啊，你本来自己就有心脏病，哎，你本来高血压就很，你本来就有高血压啦，所以通常这种就会发生那个 lawsuit。那公司如果不愿意赔的话，那法院就要开始调查。那这几年我们台湾劳基法保护劳工的工作时间 上已经有调整很多，所以这方面过劳的情况其实也慢慢都在降低了。
Once again, that was John Van Triet speaking to HR consultant and labor law expert Tracy Chen. When it comes to towering mountains, there's one place in Taiwan that stands head and shoulders above the rest of the country. Today, Andrew Ryan brings us to new heights in part 2 of his trip to Nantou County for the series, Where's the County Chief Taking Us?
If you love the challenge of a good mountain hike, there's no better place in Taiwan than Nantou County. It's home to 91 peaks over 3,000 meters tall. That's more than anywhere else in Taiwan. And if you want to conquer the nation's 100 tallest peaks, more than a third of them are located right here in Nantou. It's no wonder that the county has the nickname Taiwan's rooftop. But the tallest of them all is Jade Mountain. At just shy of 4,000 meters, it's the tallest mountain in East Asia. You'll find it on everything from logos to the 1,000 Taiwan dollar bill. It's not always size that matters. Some shorter mountains stand out for another reason. This mountain is called Hutou San, or Tiger's Head Mountain. Now, what's interesting about this mountain is not its height. It's only about 555 meters above sea level. What's special is its location. It's situated right here at the heart of Taiwan. The Japanese marked a different spot, not far from here, when they occupied Taiwan in the early 1900s. But after they left, in the 1950s, Taiwan's government measured again and realized they got the wrong spot. So they moved the marker here. Few international travelers will make a special trip to the geographical center of Taiwan, but County Chief Xu Shuhua says there are plenty of other reasons to visit Nantou County.
南投我们实在太丰富，太多的景点可以介绍了。很多的欧美的游客，他们喜欢来南投，很重要的是因为我们的山水非常的好。所以你看，人家说哦，在这个全台湾要有3件事情要完成：永渡日月潭、登玉山，还有就是环岛哈。这个3个都必须，2个在南投，第3个一定要经过。
Perhaps one of the most interesting mountains in the whole country is Hehuan Mountain. Every winter, it's one of the first places in Taiwan to get snow. And it's home to the nation's first international dark sky park. They've worked hard to keep it free from light pollution, making it the perfect sanctuary for stargazers. Klein Wong, Kama Xu, Peachy Zhuang, and Andrew Ryan for TaiwanPlus. Coming up in part 3 of our trip to Nantou, we visit the largest natural lake in Taiwan, Sun Moon Lake. Plus, what do you think these frogs are sitting on? We're going to get to the bottom of it, literally.
Stay tuned to TaiwanPlus all this week for our 5-part journey to Nantou County in a series, Where's the County Chief Taking Us? Coming up, when technology gets too intelligent, Google CEO confesses what keeps him up at night. Stay with us.
For more colorful stories from here at the center of Taiwan and from around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Prosecutors in New York have charged 2 people with operating a secret Chinese police station. They say the defendants helped track and harass overseas dissidents. Stash Butler reports.
This is Lu Jianwang. He's a U.S. citizen living in New York, one of 2 people accused of running a secret station for China's police, the MPS.
The complaints charge these MPS officers with engaging in transnational repression schemes targeting members of the Chinese diaspora community in New York City and elsewhere in the United States.
Lu and his colleague Chen worked here, a building in New York's Chinatown. Prosecutors say Lu harassed a person wanted by Chinese police to push them back to China. They say Lu was also asked to track down a pro-democracy activist. At a hearing, Lu and Chen were charged with conspiracy to act as agents of the Chinese government.
The defendants' actions under the direction of the Chinese government are flagrant violations of American sovereignty.
The existence of secret Chinese police stations around the world was first alleged by campaign group Safeguard Defenders last year. It says the country operates more than 100. China denies having police stations overseas. It says they're centers run by volunteers to help Chinese citizens renew official documents.
中国一贯坚持不干涉内政原则，严格遵守国际法，尊重各国的司法主权。你提到的所谓中国海外警察站根本不存在。
The arrests in New York have closed one of the controversial sites, but if reports are to be believed, many more remain. Damon Lin and Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
China's economy grew faster than expected in the first quarter of this year. The world's second-largest economy grew by 4.5%, China's Statistics Bureau announced on Tuesday. This beats expectations of 4% growth, which economists had forecast in a Reuters poll. The faster growth follows nearly 3 years of strict zero-COVID restrictions. Those rules isolated the country from much of the world. China's Taiwan's largest trading partner. Lower Chinese demand late last year caused Taiwan's economy to shrink in the final quarter of 2022. Google CEO Sundar Pichai says he's concerned about the potential dangers of artificial intelligence. Speaking in an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes, Pichai says the speed at which artificial intelligence has advanced has kept him up at night. The 2022 launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT has pushed tech companies to expand the use of chatbots. This includes Google, which released its own chatbot, Bard, for testing in the US and UK last month. But Pichai says he's concerned that the industry's race to be first will cause developers to miss key pitfalls. Google CEO is not the only industry leader to have voiced concerns. Last month, Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and others also called for a pause in AI development until more is known about the potential dangers. Chatbots are opening new possibilities that not long ago seemed impossible, but it's also a wild west with little regulation. To learn more, Joyce Tseng spoke with Brooklyn Law School professor and author Frank Pascal.
So there's been this, AI hype nowadays, but actually AI has been around and developing for a couple of years. What is it about the latest developments that have caused such a stir?
Essentially, I think that the main aspects of ChatGPT that are causing concern is just how fluent it is with language. I think that people did not expect this level of advance to come so quickly. Then when you think about all the things you could use language for, then it starts feeling like it has quite a bit of potential impact in many different fields.
Clearly, one of the difficulties is that AI seems to have infinite applications and uses. What do you think is the main threat?
I think that the main threat is the misuse of the language model by people who don't understand its limitations. So if you were to have a chatbot and you were just to tell it, say, write a story that is about all of the good things Russia is doing for Ukraine right now, it will give you a response. And it will give you a response, and it doesn't really have any ethical awareness that, Russia, in fact, is destroying much of Ukraine and is doing terrible things to Ukraine, right? And so if you have something that is just an amoral word generator, that is an incredible incentive and tool out there for all sorts of bad actors. And so I think that one thing to remember on that fraud claim is the idea that this is a language model. It's not a knowledge model, right? It's modeling how to produce fluent language, but it doesn't really care in many contexts whether what it's saying is true or helpful. It just wants to be able to give you some feedback that will look like human feedback.
You've spoken about this idea of attribution in that a robot should be able to be attributed to a person who can take responsibility for it. Could you say more about this?
One of the things that I thought was really essential for robotics to be used widely was that any AI or robot should be attributed to a person or a corporation that can take responsibility for what it does. Some people say we need to have many different AI models out there and chatbot models that are freely available. And on the one hand, that makes a lot of sense in terms of democratizing knowledge. But on the other hand, the problem is that if you have all of these things out there and they do something really terrible, then who do you hold responsible? You know, I heard that recently someone actually committed suicide after sort of interactions with a chatbot. We need to be able to attribute any form of AI to a person or corporation so that, because we know how to punish persons or corporations, we don't know how to punish AIs. It's not as if you pull the plug on ChatGPT or Google Bard that it will feel bad, right? It can't anticipate someone pulling the plug and then saying, oh, I won't do bad things because someone will pull the plug on me. It doesn't have that sort of mental model of the world.
That was TaiwanPlus reporter Joyce Zheng speaking with Brooklyn Law School professor Frank Pascal in New York. A new sculpture in Penghu is drawing quite a bit of attention for its unique design. Leslie Liao has more.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And this new oyster mascot in Taiwan's outlying Penghu County is certainly something to behold.
上班的路途来看一下实地到底是怎么样，但真的没有想象中的那么好看。
The mascot is in Penghu's Chengqian village, which is known for its oysters. This landmark is meant to draw more tourists to the area, but it's also drawing locals who have heard about its unconventional appearance.
在地人也会来朝圣，真的就觉得这边的牡蛎就是很肥，就很肥滋滋，看起来就肥滋滋的，对，感觉很好吃。
This isn't the first time a Taiwanese mascot design has drawn attention. Southern Taiwan's Banana King and Milkfish Boy have also been mocked online. Then there's Zhanghua County's mascot, which is just a personified map of the area. And in the north, there's the human-headed butterfly. Whatever your opinion on these mascots is, it can be argued that they're having their intended effect. After all, if people are willing to travel to see them, then they're doing their job. Howard Zhang and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Locals in Nantou County have spotted a rare crab-eating mongoose. The elusive species is endemic to Taiwan. The sightings have been celebrated as a success of conservation efforts. Sally Jensen has more.
This is not the visitor locals in Nantou County were expecting when they put out food scraps for stray cats. This is a crab-eating mongoose, but it's pretty happy eating whatever has been left outside. Its appearance took the local residents by surprise. It's pretty rare to see a crab-eating mongoose. They are shy creatures and do not normally get close to humans. Some say that the increase in sightings reflects rising population numbers due to good conservation. The mongoose tends to avoid polluted and urban areas.
它已经比20-30年前要容易发现，在一些浅山地方，很多人出没的地方都不难发现它的踪迹。
The small mammal ranges from the northeast Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia to southern China and Taiwan. It is listed as least concern on the IUCN Red List. Despite its name, its diet consists not only of crabs, but just about anything else it can catch: fish, snails, frogs, rodents, birds and reptiles. Last year, for the first ever time, it was captured on film foraging for hermit crabs and cracking them open on hard surfaces using its front paws. Authorities are telling people not to approach any mongooses they see. They have also warned against leaving food scraps out, saying it may endanger the health of wild species and make them dependent on human handouts. They say this could make the animals aggressive. Chen and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
It's not for the faint of heart or bladder. A toilet in Taiwan South is shocking visitors with a view of the sheer drop below. But as Stash Butler reports, the owner wouldn't have it any other way.
It's the loo with a view. This restroom in southern Taiwan is called Heaven's Toilet, but it might be hell for some. The pot with a drop belongs to a bed and breakfast in Pingdong County. For the owner, building it was a dream come true. Because when nature calls, to nature he goes. It's a fully functioning restroom. But customers still get nervous, particularly in front of a camera. It's not the only toilet in Taiwan drawing attention. This one up the south coast in Jiayi is a social media sensation. But for panoramic views, the Pingdong lavatory can't be beat, if you've got the guts and the bowels to use it. Andy Xue and Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of birds of all shapes, colors, and sizes at a bird reserve in Kuwait. I'm Betty Chen. Take care and see you next time.